There are many houses in the world that were built without the involvement of an architect. This is true of a vast part of today's housing stock, and entire neighborhoods have been built without urban planning. We see these houses, for example, in fast-growing cities, where newcomers have to provide their own shelter. The first time I came to a slum as an architect was a bewildering experience. I saw architecture without architects, everywhere. The first time you enter the slums, you will probably be overwhelmed by what you see. It's a lot. Many people, many houses, lots of everything. It looks completely different from what many people are used to. At least that was my experience. No matter how open-minded you are, in such an exceptional place as this, your inevitable prejudices will hit you in the face. Like many others, I was amazed by what I saw, but in an unexpected way. Of course, there is a lot to improve in terms of living conditions in the slums. We all agree on that. But there is a lot of discussion about how to achieve this. In most cases, slum dwellers eventually move to new homes and the slums are demolished. But the number of slums in the world is so huge that building that many new houses will take far too long. People are moving to the city faster than new houses can be built. That is why slums have always existed and will probably never entirely disappear. So there are also projects in which slums can be improved by the residents themselves, without everything having to be demolished and without having to wait for outside help. If we want to support such development, we need to first understand how the slum operates on a daily basis, how people live there, how they build. In short, we need to learn how the slum works. That is why I went deeper into the architecture of slums, and I made a bizarre discovery. Our libraries have thousands of books about buildings, architecture and architects, but almost nothing about slums. At most, you might find plans on how to get rid of slums, even though over 1 billion people live in slums. Imagine, the world's population at the moment is 7 billion. That means 1 in every 7 people live in a slum. And you'll find nothing in libraries about their architecture. And that is what I'm going to do something about. My mission is to teach about the architecture of slums. This will help those who want to improve them. And in addition, comparing slums and modern cities is also the perfect way to learn what architecture and urban design are actually about. It shows what the work of architects and urban designers ultimately entails. "10 years ago I gave a lecture in Mumbai to a group of students. They were studying urban design at Columbia University in New York, and they were in Dharavi on a study trip. Together with local students, they would be doing some research and then present ideas for the neighborhood. Those students had a jet lag of 12 hours and they had to work the next day with all that overwhelming material. I had been walking around in Dharavi for a couple of weeks already, and in the meantime I had found a few patterns in the chaos. That's why I thought it would help the students if I gave them a hand and showed them the architecture of the slums. In other words, to help them find out why a slum looks the way it looks.
And it took me a while to figure out what is so typical of slum dwellings. And the thing is that in a slum dwelling, almost everything is put outside. For example, you can see the stairs sitting outside, water piping is outside, electricity, almost everything that is infrastructure is on the outside. And that is very different from the commercial building we saw before, where everything is hidden and put inside in special shafts and you will not see anything on the outside.
And that is exactly why I think slums are so fascinating. You can still see everything. It's like what anatomy did for our knowledge of the human body. Slums show the anatomy of houses and the city. For architecture students, it's an ideal place because it shows so well what architecture and urbanism are about. Precisely because everything is turned inside out. Slums are the perfect place to dissect and learn about the built environment. An important part of my mission is a series of videos and lectures we are going to make. They will be like anatomical lessons. Through architecture we will find topics in a range of fields, like economy and law, the formal and the informal. In short, around architecture we see the many things that make a city. It will be about how we live with our buildings, about people, about architecture, about that perfect slum.
अबे 20 के लड़के कितना सारा आ गया